What does this mean? We know that the new justice will start work immediately. So what does this practically mean for the United States?
Yeah, so there are two oaths that a Supreme Court justice has to take. She's going to take one of them in an hour or so at the White House from Justice Clarence Thomas, and then she'll take the second one in this private ceremony at the Supreme Court tomorrow, and will immediately be able to begin work. And that's important because there are a number of cases, including some having to do with the election, that are pending right now, so she may have some very fast decisions to make over the next couple days.
Greg, of course, a justice is meant to be impartial, but could Amy Coney Barrett rule along partisan lines? Is that the expectation here if it comes to debates over the fate of the election or even other important landmark cases in the U.S. like Roe versus Wade?
That is certainly the expectation. Of course, justices do surprise people once they get on the court, but conservatives and Republicans were overjoyed by this nomination. She certainly has a track record when you talk about things like abortion of being both personally opposed to abortion and having some rulings that suggested she was going to be rather skeptical of abortion rights. Less of a clear-cut track record on the election, but of course Donald Trump, when he nominated her, has been talking about the need to have 9 justices in case a big dispute over the election comes to the Supreme Court. Clearly, Donald Trump is imagining Justice Barrett voting for him.
And Greg, we have live pictures for our viewers of supporters and opponents to this nomination just outside the Supreme Court. Tell us a little bit about basically the big issues that she'll have to tackle as soon as she gets into office. We know, as you mentioned, the Obamacare arguments will be heard on November 10th, not to mention that, of course, everybody's looking at her when it comes to Roe v. Wade as well.
Yeah, and right now the Supreme Court doesn't have an abortion case, but they do have an appeal that's pending. The state of Mississippi wants the Supreme Court to hear arguments on a law that would ban abortion after 15 weeks of pregnancy, and so she may have to make a very quick decision as to whether she would like to hear that case. As I mentioned earlier, there are pending election-related fights having to do with things like when ballots have to be received by in various states, and of course we could have, if this close, another Bush v. Gore type dispute after the election that she might rule in.